Liberation has always started with a book. Walk into one of GiGi's classroom sessions, you'll hear the quiet clicks of crochet hooks on desks as stories are being read aloud. GiGi is the founder of Grandmas for Literacy, an organization rewriting who gets to lead early literacy work in Philadelphia. Her idea is simple and radical. The people best positioned to teach children to read may already be in their homes. Your mother was born in 1929. Every time I hear that, I think about the Great Depression. Never graduated from high school and still became one of the most powerful forces in your life. How did her story shape your relationship with education?
Oof, that's a mouthful, and thank you for having me today. So my mother was born in 1929, and one of the biggest things that she taught me was education was the most important thing in the world, right? And she never graduated from high school, and yet she became judge of elections. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like literally judge of elections. You would never know. But I can only imagine, so like during those times, we said what? Great Depression. Philadelphia used to be a big garment industry. So my mother worked at a factory. So in the 50s, she actually integrated her block. It was like moving into wealth. You know what I mean? Because they came from South Philly, from the 7th Ward, moved up here, you know, and integrated the block. But at the same time, she used to take the subway, you know, to that job, to that factory, you know, from where she lives, and she used to walk down the street. So we live down the street from LaSalle University, right? So I can truly imagine my mother walking by LaSalle University saying, I'm gonna send my daughter to that school one day. You know, I'm gonna send my daughter to that school one day. And guess what school I went to? I graduated from LaSalle University because like my mom was tenacious about it. My mother sent me to all the best schools. I went to a Catholic elementary school, I went to a private high school, and then I graduated from college. So naturally with that force and living with her, that force just like, she instilled it in me. She totally instilled that in me. I see my mother marched on Washington with MLK, okay? She left me home. I was like 1 or 2 years old. She left me home and marched on Washington. I'm like she was a beast, you know?
30% of grandparents serve as primary caregivers. More than 14,000 grandparents raising young readers. That's incredible. Who is investing in grandmothers?
Nobody. GiGi, okay? It's so funny because, like I said, my mom, she always wanted me to do well. So when I had children, she helped me raise my children. Okay, so I had a career. I worked at a big institute, a big organization, not even an organization, retail box, right? I traveled the world, and my mother raised my kids. But my kids graduated from school lacking some of the basics, right?
Okay.
And imagine if my mother had some of these basics. Now, my kids grew up. They're amazing human beings. You know, they have motherhood. They have everything that my mother could teach them, right? But imagine if she had these resources. Imagine if she knew what female awareness was.
Since no one's investing in grandmothers, what type of investments are you looking for?
So for me, what I want to do is teach grandparents how to teach their children to read. The parents work and the grandparents watch the kids.
I'm gonna circle back to that tenaciousness that you got from your mom. So your son was hit by a car on the first day of school and spent 2 weeks in a coma. You found crochet during that trauma and then brought it directly into the classroom. Walk us through what actually happens in Grandmas for Literacy session and how crochet unlocks something in children that traditionally literacy instruction misses.
So crochet is almost like a full body workout. Crochet, what I do crochet / reading. We read out loud, okay? So I merged the two. And it's almost like a full body workout, right? So when we first walk into the classroom, we do mindfulness to get ready to like just breathe. We breathe in, we breathe out, just to get the brain ready to calm it down from the day's activities, right? So after that, what we do is we do a lesson in crochet, right? So when you crochet, you use both sides of your brain, the left and the right, right? And that's what you do when you blend words together too, which is amazing. It's almost like the same exact exercise for your brain. So within that, kids are doing math, right? Kids are creating. It's building their self-esteem. It's building eye-hand coordination. It's letting them know that, you know, you can be creative, okay? And the funniest thing, I have girls in college now. I've been doing it for the last, 10 years? So it's definitely a great idea. But after that, what we do is we read out loud. So we'll take a book and we'll take turns reading the book. Now, what's exciting about that is the books that we read, I mix struggling readers with readers that, good readers, right?
Yeah.
And we learn from one another. It's almost like each one teach one when we're in this class. We don't laugh at each other when you don't know a word. We help each other, And then also we dissect the book. So my girls and boys are getting critical thinking skills, right? Doing that activity. But what is really exciting about the activity, they're off their phones for like a good 90 minutes.
Yeah. And also the good thing about what you're saying as far as dissecting the book, a lot of times parents, teachers, grandparents, adults get things misconstrued about what reading is. Yes, people can read words, but can they comprehend, understand what they're reading? So they say, well, my child can read, but does your child understand what they're reading? I can go to the doctor's office and read those books all day. I do not know what all those words mean. I can read the words though. So yes, I can read, but do I understand? Can I go back and rewrite what I just read or summarize it and give you back feedback on the critical points of the text? So that's really important, dissecting the text.
Thank you for saying it, because I have a lot of friends out there, and with the reading gurus, the next step, these kids can actually read words, right? They can blend, right? They can read the passage, but are they comprehending, right? So to become a proficient reader is reading out loud, is phonemic awareness, it's vocabulary, it's all the things. And comprehension is the big thing.
Dr. Howard Fuller, who says, only an idiot would assume that what happens before a child comes to school doesn't affect how they learn. What does Philadelphia need to understand about this crisis right now?
I believe that like with Dr. Howard Fuller is saying, is like the trauma that affects the child, right? Keeping these lights on, that affects the child, right? Because these bills are high, right? Parents are worried about health insurance. Parents are worried about putting food on the table. There are food deserts in the city of Philadelphia, right? So all that affects how the child is when he gets to school. You can imagine why these children are not reading, or these children can't sit still. Even with me tutoring children that I'm tutoring now, they want to eat. I'm spending more money on food than the darn books sometimes. The parents go beyond just bringing in the cupcakes. Find out where your child is in reading. Can your child read? You know what I mean? Like, he's going from grade to grade to grade, but is he reading on task, right? Self-determination is not waiting for institutions to educate your child, right? It's about, trying to figure out a way to do it yourself. It's about building community, okay? It's about taking your child to the library. Now, let me tell you something. I know, and I don't want to talk from a middle class situation, right? I know what it's like, Mr. Reason, Mark, I know what it's like to have to keep these lights on, right? I know, because I just got a bill today, right? I know what it's like, right? But I encourage parents to build community with other parents who may have the time. You understand what I'm saying? Build partnerships. Don't leave it to these institutions to educate your child. Because after all, you are your child's first teacher. I mean, yeah, and that's so true. I actually teach a class on how to build a relationship with teachers as well, right? And the one thing you can do is bring those apples. You know what I mean? Just come up and just be involved and ask questions to the teacher, so the teacher knows that you're there. Another thing is, as a parent, your child is spending more time with that teacher during the day than they are with you, okay? So you need to know where your child is going. Let that teacher know, let the teacher know, so you both have the same expectations. So that if the teacher will call you when the child is doing well as, you always get that phone call talking about your child did this, your child did that. But if you build a relationship with your teacher and let the teachers know, this is what I expect, then it's a win-win.
Yeah. I do apologize to my audience. I get into these conversations and I forget to say, welcome back to The Reason Solutions, and make sure you click like, subscribe, and share. You built an entire organization on the belief that grandmothers still have something to give. What do you want every grandmother or anybody in the house in Philadelphia or throughout the country, because more than people from Philadelphia listen to this podcast, what do you want them to know about their power, and your final words of wisdom for people listening today?
So I'm gonna be very honest with you, Mr. Reason. It took me to walk, and it took me a minute to walk in this power because when
Well, talk to us about the walk. Go ahead.
when my mom passed away, I had my mother. Right. I had my mother longer than I haven't had her. She passed away 3 years ago, and
Okay.
she had dementia. We took care of her. I expected her to pass away because that's life, right?
Okay.
But when it hit, it totally took me down. It really did. It took me down. And then just one day, it's so funny, and I have to say it. I went back to work part-time with these kids in schools, right? And I was at another school, and I was in the playground, and a mother walked up, and I walked over to the mother. I said, guess what? I said, your daughter listens to me, right? And the mom said, why? And I said, because I'm a grandmother, right? And she was like, huh. And then automatically she ran a nonprofit that highlights the social justice work that grandmothers do. And I'm like, she said, let's do this podcast. And next thing I know, I was like, and then she introduced me to all these grandmothers across the world. Like in the Philippines that were fighting martial law, in Africa was fighting.
Back to that networking you were just talking about.
I'm just saying, right? And I was like, Toya, first of all, your mama ain't gonna like you sitting on that sofa. First of all, she was telling me, get up. Darth Mary, my mom was like, oh no, enough, get up. I heard it because she said that to me my whole life. Get up. And I got up and I'm like, some junk left in the trunk. You know what I mean? It was like, you hear me getting loud and passionate about it because
you're supposed to be.
I'm just so excited because I do have stuff left to do. I'm gonna get these children reading. I'm gonna teach them how to read because I'm capable.
On grade level.
It's like grandmas. Like, yo, I'm talking to y'all, right? Do not feel hopeless because after all, you've been through so much in your life, right? And you've got over these, like when life be lifing, you got over that trauma. You got through it. And here you are today. You still got wisdom. You might be slow. It's okay. That's why I'm working on these intergenerational relationships because I got my little boys. They help me out with my phone. They teach me where Google Docs are. Okay.
And they like that. And they like doing it too.
And we're building. I'm giving them my wisdom, and they're taking it and they're running with it. And they're doing it their way, a faster way. Because they have more access to knowledge than I did when I was growing up. But, some things that I may have done, and I share it with them, and if you find that generation that listens to the adults, that's the other thing, grandparents. If they're not listening, they don't deserve to hear your voice. Okay. Don't just find, and that took a while too, Mark, to find my tribe, the ones who really listened to me and poured into me. And then I poured into them. Whew, win-win situation for me.
So I definitely don't want to end this podcast without you telling people how they can reach out to you or what's coming or like how can they learn more about you. Like if you want to give out your social or any way they can reach out. And if you do, say it slow.
Instagram at Grandmas for Literacy.
Let me say it again. So on Instagram at what?
At Grandmas for the number 4 Literacy.
Anywhere else?
Website to come. It'd be Grandmas
website to come.
For literacy.org.
So my people, that's the work. That is the mission. And GiGi is just getting started. So let's encourage her, support her. And if you know any grandmas or granddads, can granddads get up in here too?
Granddads.
Come on, let's get some granddad. Let's get some pop-pops up in this joint. So we want to get some pop-pop. She wants y'all, she needs y'all and our children. So we need to support. We need to support programs like GiGi's. I always say in all of my interviews, stay curious, read, peace.